The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.
These are tough times, and they're getting even tougher. The clock is ticking. The countdown to collapse is well underway. What are you going to do about it? Will you just wait for it to happen, or will you be ready when it happens? The decision is yours, and yours alone. Join myself, Mickey Fulp, Robert Ian, David Morgan, Jeff Berwick, Elijah Johnson, Alan Butler, Gregory Manarino, Daniel Amaduri, Andy Hoffman, Tekoa Da Silva, Trace Mayer, one of the world's leading Bitcoin authorities, Bix Weir, Jay Taylor, and Gary Christensen at the Liberty Mastermind Symposium in Las Vegas on February 21st and 22nd, and learn how to create your plan to survive the collapse. The last Liberty Mastermind Symposium was one of the most highly rated conferences ever, and this one promises to be even better. Don't miss it. Join us and register now at libertymastermind.us. libertymastermind.us. This one is going to be out of this world, and it's going to be even better because it's in Las Vegas, Nevada. Go to Liberty Mastermind US and sign up today. You are listening to the Financial Survival Network.com. I'm Kerry Lutz, 1230 WBZT. Would you believe playoff ticket prices in Denver record lows? Stock markets going up all over the world except China. And who knows why? Well, we know who knows, and that's Andrew Hoffman. Andy, welcome back.
Well, thanks for having me. Of course, being here in Denver, I have the inside scoop. But look, you don't need to see playoff ticket prices to realize what's going on with the retail business. Best Buy is the world's largest electronics retailer. Anyone who wasn't watching didn't see that the other day. It fell 30% in one day because its same-store sales actually contracted during the holiday season as opposed to the increase that was expected. Across the board, we're talking about the worst holiday season that we've seen since the post-crisis lows in 2009. I just saw video game sales are down 17% in December versus a year ago. Absolutely incredible, because that's the only thing people do spend money on these days. And as for the playoff tickets, last week in the divisional round, 3 of the 4 games weren't even sold out until the last second. And that was, I'm sure, manipulated as well. And someone bought up those tickets because 3 of the 4 games, my God. But the craziest thing is here in Denver, where you see Peyton Manning against Tom Brady. Beautiful weather here, AFC Championship, and the tickets for the best seats in the house were about $500, whereas back in September on opening day, the worst seats in the house were $500, and everything was cut by 50 or 70%. So anyone who's telling you that people are in a spending mood is lying.
Denver playoff tickets on a gorgeous day, and they can barely give the things away. That should tell you something, shouldn't it?
Heck, even I was thinking about buying tickets for the game. I couldn't believe when I looked on TicketZoom at what people were selling them for.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. Not the sign of a healthy economy, is it?
No, as I said, look, video games are the kind of things that people just keep spending on. They spend their unemployment checks on, they spend their food stamps on. I mean, this is the culture of America. And when it comes to football, the National Football League itself is doing great with its advertising and all that kind of thing. And it's America's favorite sport. So when you only have 1 or 2 playoff games in your city in a matter of years, let alone these kind of games, and people are not buying like they always have, it's definitely a sign of the times. And again, the people that buy football tickets are the people that have the money, let alone the people that don't have it.
Yeah, so... And what about this hiring survey? You and I know there's no jobs out there, yet the government's telling us, be happy, go get hired, and yet the Jolt survey says hiring is weak.
Yeah, well, one thing that we predicted here at Miles Franklin in our year-end predictions was that this would be the year that once and for all, people would just stop listening to the government employment data. I mean, you can go back many years, particularly, Jack Welch made his famous comments right after the October 2012 NFP report, which was the one just before Obama got reelected, about how the books were cooked. I mean, we've been talking about this for years, but it's gotten so ridiculous in the last year or two in particular, with the birth-death model, now with the plunging unemployment rate, with the fact that they are counting part-time jobs and temp jobs as full-time jobs, all these kind of things. But the thing that you're mentioning, the Jolt survey, I think it stands for Job Openings, Layoffs, and Turnover Survey. It's put out also by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, so it's not some separate survey like ADP. This is a separate survey put out by the same people that put out the NFP report. And I was looking at this great article on Zero Hedge this week showing the trend in hiring. What the Jolt survey measures actual hiring for jobs, and then pitting it against the number of jobs created by the NFP report. And the gap is so ridiculously wide after being almost 100% correlation for years that it shows just how fraudulent it is. And again, all of these things that we talk about go back to late 2008. It was a perfect correlation until 2008, just like, you now see a perfect correlation between the Fed's balance sheet and the stock market, again, which started at the end of 2008. This is when the government decided to commandeer the entire market, all paper markets, and of course, the dissemination of economic information. But what we're talking about here is finally the just complete global understanding that these two things, that one doesn't speak for the other. Higher stock markets don't mean anything. And of course, we can talk about what's going on with some of the hyperinflating stock markets around the world, be it Venezuela, Argentina, South Africa, you name it.
Yeah.
Or arguably the Dow.
Mm-hmm. So you think that's what's really happening to the Dow?
There's a 100% correlation between the Fed's balance sheet and the stock market. And that's not even incorporating what the PPT does. That is the President's Working Group on Capital Markets, which is clearly in there at every second of the day, just as the cartel is in there shorting gold every second of the day. But the fact is that around the world, you are seeing stock markets go in the same direction as the money printing and nothing else. I mean, Japan is a perfect example. They now have the highest inflation they've had in 5 years. They have the lowest real wages they've had in 5 years. Tokyo is still the most expensive city in the world. Yet the government says that they have deflation. They keep printing money, and the stock market keeps going higher. And like America, very few Japanese people actually own stocks. So again, the 1% benefit from this, the 99% are injured by it.
Mm-hmm. And stocks like Google and Apple and Microsoft and GE, they just go up or they stay the same, which is in a way going up, right? Because they should be going down.
Well, I mean, I won't speak for an individual stock, and actually, I mean, look, Google is to me one of the best companies ever created. I know that when I looked way back when, it wasn't a particularly expensive stock, but I don't know where that is now. And again, the thing is with earnings is that if you look at the real earnings, not the non-GAAP earnings, the ones that are excluding charges. In fact, I wrote an article about this fantastic chart that I saw showing how real earnings are flat. They haven't gone up for 2 years. Yet the Ibises and the Thompsons are out there telling you earnings are growing. They're not growing at all. Perhaps for a few companies like Google, but any company is suspect when you talk about non-recurring charges because they're not non-recurring for the economy as a whole.
Right. And now we're starting to see this bubble in China start to pop, aren't we?
Yeah, it's very, very difficult to figure out what goes there. I mean, look, the Chinese pretty much have admitted, they admitted last year in several articles I read, that their economic data is not reliable. So why anyone listens to it, I don't know. But the fact is, the proof of what's going on in China, we were talking before this call about there was a major shadow banking bankruptcy the other day, because while the government of China is not indebted, the corporations which have been supplied by the government are the most indebted in the world. I think only the British banks have more debt than Chinese corporations, and they're starting one by one to go under. So it's a very perilous situation. Look at the Chinese stock market. We talk about how all the stock markets in the world are reacting to their government's money printing and, of course, government support, but not China. And if we're being told that there's this big recovery going on, they reported 7.5% GDP growth the other day, then why is the Chinese stock market plunging? It's literally almost at its 2008 crisis lows. And yet we're told that there's some kind of big recovery going on there. Obviously, the rubber is hitting the road in what I wrote this morning. I said the onslaught of reality.
Well, why little thing like reality get in the way of a stock market boom and an economic boom? We shouldn't let that happen, should we?
Well, again, stock markets for ages have hyperinflated. First, initially the gains seem like they're real gains, and then they turn into nominal gains. It happened in Weimar Germany. It happened in Zimbabwe. It's happening in Venezuela right now, in Argentina. But personally, I really don't care about the stock market. I think about what's going to happen in real money. And the reason it matters is because all of this manipulation, all it's created is a dire physical shortage of metal around the world. In fact, I just wrote an article this weekend showing how the U.S. Mint finally put out its numbers, its initial numbers for the beginning of the year, and they're huge. Right now, silver's on a pace for its third largest month ever, and gold's on a pace for its fourth largest month ever for U.S. Mint sales. So, the trends are only getting, the disparities between the physical and paper are only getting wider, and something is going to give. Whether it's in the LBMA or in the Comex or the GLD at some point in the not too distant future. I'm very confident of that, but I'm not sure exactly when. Can never be sure.
Now, I'm just going to run something by what a person told me the other day, a psychological experiment that people would rather, if there's 7% interest, they'd rather get a 5% raise than if there's 0% interest, get a 2% raise. 0% inflation, they'd rather get it. Let me restate that. If there's 5%, let me start that over again.
Okay.
If there's 7% inflation, they would rather get a 5% pay increase. So in other words, their real increase is minus 2%, than if there's no inflation, get a 2% raise. Psychologically, they feel better having a negative 2% real raise than getting a positive 2% real raise. Follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's sick because I'm economically based. I wouldn't say I'm an economist because I don't have the degrees, but I've read as many books as many economists have and interviewed more people and read more articles. I want the real increase. I don't want the fake one. And yet the general population at large, who are economic nincompoops, ignoramuses, would rather have more money that's worth less than less money that's worth more, effectively, right?
Well, most people don't even understand inflation. And frankly, I'd rather have the 5% raise too, knowing that I have 5% more money to buy gold with. But most people don't know about gold, and they certainly don't know about inflation. But this is just how society is in general. They've been brainwashed over the years to be taught that the Federal Reserve is a good institution, that it knows what it's doing, and you should just listen to it. And of course, more is better.
And we're from the government, and we're here to help you, right?
Yeah. But again, remember, if you have 5% more stuff and more money and you know what to do with it, I'll take that any day. Problem is, most people either don't know what to do with it or don't even understand what inflation means.
There's something wrong here. There's something wrong with that degree of ignorance, and I find it very, very disturbing that you could deliberately be that ignorant. I don't know. There's just something wrong here, Andy.
Well, it's not deliberate. It's just, ignorance is never deliberate. It just is.
It just is. And that is the problem, isn't it?
Yes.
So, anyways, well, just a reminder, the Liberty Mastermind Symposium coming up in Lost Wages, Nevada, February 21st will be the dinner, February 22nd, the symposium. Andy will be there along with 13, 14 other speakers, myself and Robert Ian, libertymastermind.us. You can find Andy's site, of course, milesfranklin.com, and you find the links at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. You really don't want to miss it. As Bill Murphy over at Gada.org said, it was really the best, or one of the best conferences that he ever went to, and he's been to a lot, and we all had a great time, right?
It was fantastic. You get a lot of points of view about liberty. It's not just about financial. In fact, I would say I was one of the few actual financial focused people. Everyone had a different angle on it, and I really learned a lot.
Hey, same here. So libertymastermind.us. Don't miss it. Andy, we will talk to you next week.
Look forward to it.
What happens if the collapse never really comes? You need income, and Jason Hartman can help you get it. He's helped thousands of people realize their dreams of financial independence through real estate investing, and now he's got an unbeatable offer for you. He's offering my ebook, Forget Wall Street, Go for the Gold and Silver Too, for free. Just visit jasonhartman.com/Lutz. The first 100 Financial Survival Network listeners will get the book free. Remember, you can't afford to put all your eggs in one basket. Real estate should be part of a balanced investment portfolio along with gold and silver. Just go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz and sign up today. When it comes to real estate investing, Jason Hartman is the only person we trust on the Financial Survival Network. So make your money work as hard as you do by building an income property empire. Real estate is America's proven investment. Go to www.jasonhartman.com/Lutz and get your free ebook today. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. That's Jason, HARTMAN.com/Lutz. Jason knows how to help you retire with a portfolio of income-producing property. Go to jasonhartman.com/Lutz. Our friend Tom Dyson at the Palm Beach Letter is giving away free copies of a really cool report he put together called How to Protect Yourself from America's New Secret Police. Inside, you'll learn all sorts of simple, everyday tricks you can use to make yourself a little less visible and vulnerable to scammers, hackers, and even the federal government. For instance, inside Tom's report, you'll learn which free internet email service never to use. This company doesn't care if your account gets hacked or not, or things the government must tell you if they request your social security number, and how to spot skimmers lying in wait on ATMs and gas pumps, and much, much more. These tricks and secrets are low-hanging fruit ideas. You don't have to invest time or much money into them. Most are free. But by taking some basic measures, you can make your privacy much harder to invade than your neighbors. Tom's report is available for a limited time to listeners who take a trial subscription to his newsletter. Just visit the Financial Survival Network homepage for more information, or go to www.palmbeachletter2.com. That's www.palmbeachletter2.com. Hi, it's Kerry Lutz. I recently decided to move my retirement account into physical precious metals to hedge against the coming times. If you want to move an existing retirement account into physical precious metals, that you can hold in your hand, tax-free. There's no company that can do it more quickly and efficiently than Regal Assets. It took them just 24 hours to open my new IRA account, and all I had to do was fill out one simple form. The best part is that Regal Assets does all the work for you. They cover the setup and administrative costs for 2013. If you're interested in making the same move I did, call 855-678-6620, 855-678-6620. That's 855-678-6620, or visit them at regalassets.com. You'll be glad you did, and tell them Kerry sent you.
The Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. Get our complimentary newsletter at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. This is the Financial Survival Network.